Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Good morning to all. This is an online video class lecture, especially for the students of National University of Bangladesh. And as a resource person, I am Muhammad Habibur Rahman, lecturer, Department of English at Joshore Government City College, Joshore. Would like to welcome to you all to this online study program. Dear students, during this corona pandemic, National University has arranged this online study program, and being the part of this program, I feel really happy. Now, hopefully, you are following this video lecture attentively and staying at home. You are continuing your study well. So let's start our today's program. Dear students, you know as a research person, I have already completed my 6 lectures. And in my first class, I told you that your course romantic poetry, especially for the students of master's preliminary who are studying a department of English, and I will complete this course romantic poetry. I will complete this course within 10 class, and I think this is very important course for you. And today I am with you with my seventh lecture, and today's title of the lecture is Adonais, famous elegy, a poem written by Percy Bysshe Shelley, who belongs to romantic poetry or romantic age. So let's start our today's discussion. Hopefully, you will be with me attentively. So now, at first, I will show you the learning outcome today. So at first, you will find the introduction to the poet, Percy Bysshe Shelley, and the introduction to the poem Adonais, and then summary of the poem, subject matters of the poem. Uh, Also, you will find some text and theme of the poem, writing style, speciality, significant lines of the poem, and at last you will find the National University question analysis. So hopefully you will be more up and doing to listen my video class lecture, and it will be a great help for you. So at first, as usual, I will show you the introduction to the poet. So here you will find the our poet today, Percy Bysshe Shelley. You know, in my last class, I also discussed on Percy Bysshe Shelley, on his another poem, Ode to a Skylar, and today Adonais. You know, Percy Bysshe Shelley, basically famous for revolutionary poet, and here you will find widely regarded as one of the greatest lyric and philosophical poets actually, and his famous writing here Adonais and Ozymandias Ode to the West Wind, and to a Skylar, and he's a really a lyric and philosophical poet. Another slide for him. This is the Shelley revolutionary. Here you will find revolutionary and idealist and a dedicated seeker of an ideal world where love and the brotherhood of man would prevail. And his poetry expresses his spirit of rebellion and his uh, pervasive melancholy, his love of man and of freedom. He used the object of nature, which he worshipped as a images of his internal states. So, in this way, Shelley actually remains the very famous in the history of English literature. So now I will discuss on the introduction to the poem. So today I have already told you that Adonais our discussing poem. You know, basically Adonais is a pastoral elegy, a poem of mourning that relies on nature imagery to honor the dead. Actually, I will discuss on elegy in the next slides. So here, this is one kind of poem. There are various types of poems. So elegy is one kind. Ode, sonnet, you heard epic, so etc. So here elegy, but pastoral elegy. So elegy basically the uh, poem of mourning for nearest and dearest one, but pastoral elegy, there will be the image of nature or mythological allusion, etc. And this is the poem, and publishing date in 1821. And here the writer writes this poem to commemorate or to remember the death of his friends and fellow poet John Keats. So of course, as elegy, there will be the elements that the writers will discuss, or the writer will mourn or remember or commemorate for his nearest or dearest one. So here the nearest and dearest one or friend, that is contemporary writer John Keats, earlier that years. So here basically Adonais refers to the John Keats, and it is widely regarded as one of the Shelley's best and most well-known works. And the in style, the poem, you have 495 lines and 55 Spenserian stanza. Spenserian, Edmund Spenser, uh, is famous for his stanza, and the stanza consists of 9 lines. So I will discuss later on about it. So huge line 495 and 55 uniformed stanza, Spenserian stanza, that is consist of 9 lines. There's huge style, and there's lyrical beauty. I think you will find stylistic beauty you will find in this poem, and it is ranked or compared with the John Milton's Lycidas for its purity of classical form. It's at the classical form, and in it the poem mourns the death of the fair Adonais, but ends by placing him among the immortals. So this is the introduction to the poem. Next slides, I also discuss in details about it. So now I will show you the background of the poem. So here this is the background. You see the images. This is the Shelley. Shelley is the writer today, and he writes this Adonais, elegy, and for whom? For kids. Kids, the contemporary writers and friends as well. So here this is the death, birth and death year. So both are the contemporary here you will find. So that is why I show you two images: Shelley the writer elegy, and for whom? For John Keats. So this is very important. So here you will find the myth of Adonai serves as the model for the death of Keats. Actually here in this elegy there is a model. So model is Keats, dead while young and beautiful. And Shelley's poem Adonais on the death of Keats was intended as the image of regret and the honor of the poor Keats. And Keats had died of tuberculosis in Rome 7 weeks earlier at the age of 25. So it is a premature death, and Shelley also premature death by accident and drowning in the water. So here you will find this is the background. So background of the elegy. Now I will discuss the elegy, about elegy. Elegy, one kind of poem, and a formal lyric poem, written in honor of someone who has died. And you have 3 stages actually in the poem, 3 stages of loss. The first laments the loss. The speaker expresses grief and sorrow. So in the poem you also find such type of elements. So that is why it is called elegy. And then expresses praise or admirations of the idealized person, and then in the middle part of the poem there will be the praise and admiration of the idealized person. So here the idealized person is John Keats. And finally consolation and solace, and at last you will find the consolation, you will find the happiness that the death will remain forever with his works. So this is the characteristic, simple characteristic of elegy. This is very important, you should remember. So another slides for elegy, you should show this, and such personal elegy notes and Shelley's Adonais mourning for the death of Keats. So here you will find another slide for elegy. The subjects or various death or love, similar things. So in elegy there are lot of subject matters you will find, and you can remember the another elegy, the elegy written in a country churchyard. You have read it in the first year, Thomas Gray, also important death, about death of common people. So like this, so this is the eulogy. And now I should talk about something about pastoral elegy, So pastoral elegy is actually there are all the characteristic of elegy remain in pastoral elegy, but with the characteristic of elegy, there will be another feature, that is scene is pastoral. So basically the basic difference from elegy and pastoral elegy is the elegy that will have the pastoral setting, pastoral, rural, or the so rustic setting, and there will be nature, and also important things, the mythological character are referred. So this is the basic difference from the elegy and pastoral elegy. So our Adonais upwards pastoral elegy, because there is a scene or the setting is pastoral, and the poems begins with an invocation, invocation or prayer to God, and or calling upon someone. And here you will find diverse mythological characters are referred here. So mythological character you will find, we will discuss it about it. And nature is involved in mourning, so nature involved, so directly you will find the elements in this poem. And nature feels the wound, and nature, so for the death of that nearest and dearest one of the writers, nature also feel owned, or nature feels unhappy or sad. And there is this is the personification, you will find the personification. And there is a procession of mourners, there will be a procession or rally for the mourners, and there is a followers passage, and the elegy ends on a note of hope and joy. Sorry. So this is the common feature, and in your examination it is very important that elegy Adonais as a pastoral elegy. So that is why I discuss it in detail. So another elements of pastoral elegy. So setting here. So I think you will go through the slides. Now, at first, before going to show you the text, selected text, I will show you the summary or discuss summary of the poem. So, Adonai, this is the first slide for summary. The poem begins with the announcement that Adonai has died. So here Adonai, John Keats indicates John Keats. Remember that Adonai is Shelley's own creation. Actually, the spelling or the name Adonai's own creation, not in a historic or mythological figure. But we can easily see that Shelley intends Adonais to attain mythic proportion. So there is a mythic or mythological touch of the name Adonais here, you will find. And Shelley created the name by combining the name of the Greek god of fertility and beauty, that is Adonis. So in Greek mythology, you will find the spelling or the name Adonis, but here the Shelley so gives, or Shelley writes Adonais. So this is the simple creation, or a simple sense of the name Adonais and Adonis and Adonais. So Adonais is the Greek god of fertility, and Hebrew word Adonai meaning our Lord. So this is the combination of two words here that our writer Shelley takes the name Adonais. So this is very important. Now another slide for Adonais, a summary. In the poem, the speaker then calls on the mourners to lament Adonai. At the very beginning, you will find that the speaker calls on the mourners to lament Adonai. This is the characteristics of elegy or pastoral elegy. To lament Adonai's passing. And among the first to be the called is Urania. And the character, this is the goddess of astronomy, and identified in the poem as a Adonai's mother. So Urania, here Urania, you will find the reference of Urania, that is also called the allusion, this is the reference, indirect reference or direct reference from the mythological or historical or renowned and writing so reference. So this is also called the allusions, there is an important literary term. So here you will find the Urania. So the speaker at first calls on Urania to mourn for the death. And in the poem, the writers introduce Urania as the mother of Adonais, kids. And significantly, Venus, the goddess of love and beauty, is also called Venus Urania. So I think it is little bit changeably he used the name. So Urania here. Here Urania is the mother of Adonis. That means John Keats. But in Greek mythology, Urania, basically Urania is the lover of Adonis. So this is the something difference or something change. Then the next slides for the summary. In the poem, you find Urania leads a procession of mourners to Adonai's graveside, where mythological and historical greats weep for him, and from the illustrious poet Thomas Moore and Lord Byron to the very forces of nature itself, the ocean and the winds and the morning dew. So everyone, every historical illustrious poet so you will find the reference of illustrious poet Thomas Moore and Lord Byron also. And even the nature, this is the personification, example of personification. Even the nature, ocean, winds, and morning dew. So everyone mourn for the death of Adonais, and they take part in the procession as the mourner of Adonais at the graveside. So this is the very important characteristics of pastoralism, a mythological character here, Urania, as a mother of Adonis in this poem, leads the procession of mourner. This is the Greek god of beauty and desire. This is the Adonis. This is of our collection from the internet, and this is the Greek mythological reference of Greek mythology. Then the next slide you will find, as these mourners cry for the lost Adonais, the speaker condemned those who blames for the death, and those who by force or the cunning cut down the hero. Those enemies the speaker suggests will suffer most for their misdeeds, while Adonais' spirit lives on eternity. So here you will find that these mourners, so historical person and the natures, so cry for the Adonais, losing Adonais, and the speaker condemns those who blames for the death. So here, so the speaker, actually the poet, Shelley thinks that John Keats so died because of criticism or bad criticisms of the critic about his writing. But actually, it is not. John Keats died for uh, by tuberculosis. This is the uh, one type of disease. Serious disease at the time. So here you will find the blame. He blames for the death, and those who by force the cunning cut down the hero. So here Shelley thinks that um, the other person or critics are the responsible for the death of this hero, that is John Keats, and that is why he says like this. And finally, he says, the speaker says, suggests that the work of John Keats. And here the writer says that uh, the person who are responsible for the death of John Keats will suffer most for their misdeed. But Adonais, John Keats' spirit lives on eternity through his works. So this is very important idea. And this is the last slides for the summary. So as the poem closes, the speaker calls for an end to mourning, and recognizing that Adonais has achieved the happiest states of all. He has become one with nature, even as his name and spirit endures in the form of art of poetry. This poetic spirit immortal and unchanging, and will be a source of beauty, inspiration, and light for all ages to come. So this is the very characteristics. This is the last characteristic. Here you will find the consolation, you will find the solace or happiness. So at the end of the poem, you will find that here speakers so now calls for end. So this is time to end our mourning or death, because the spirit of the death, the Adonais, John Keats, there will be eternal, and the work or the spirit. Here spirit, actually the work or the poetry or art, John Keats is famous for art and beauty, and he's called a poet of beauty. So through or by his writing or by his poem, in the next class I will discuss on John Keats, another romantic poet. So there, so in this way, the writer says or the speaker says, this poetic spirit, so this is John Keats, will be immortal and unchanging, and that will be the source of beauty, inspiration, and light. So I think uh, it is very much clear to you about the summary of the poem and the story and subject matter. Now, form and writing style of the poem. Here you will find the Adonais. Basically, you have already known the pastoral elegy, and there is a classical allusions. That is so reference of the mythological characters or the famous illustrious poet. And here you will find the ancient Greek and Rome allusions. And I have already told you Shelley uses 55 Spengerian stanza. That is very important. Edmund Spenger introduced this stanza, more than 9 lines is, and arranged in, this is the rhyme scheme, A B A B B C B C C rhyme scheme. So all the 55 stanzas follows this rhyme scheme. This is very much really outstanding creation in the history of English literature. And this means that lines, this is the rhyme scheme actually here, and that's a lot of numbers that all boil down, all things. This is the poetic artistry. So that is why it is very much famous. So I will show you simply about the Spenserian stanza. So is a fixed verse from invented by the Edmund Spenser. For his epic poem Fairy Queen, very famous Fairy Queen. In this year. And each stanza contain 9 lines in total and 8 lines in iambic pentameter. The first 8 line you will have the iambic pentameter. Iambic unstressed and stressed syllable. And pentameter, 5 feet consist of pentameter. Is called pentameter, and followed by a single alexandrine lines or iambic hexameter. Hexameter. The 6 feet so will be hexameter, and the rhyme, the last line. So every stanza, 55 stanza, you have the last line, that is ninth line, you will have the hexameter and rhyme scheme of this line. This is the rhyme scheme. So this is very much interesting. I will show you the text, few part, I think. So I will show you. This is the 55 stanzas. So that is why it is really impossible to show you all the poems. So I will show you the selected stanza from the text. So this is Adonais, an elegy on the death of John Keats, and written by Percy Bysshe Shelley. The first stanza, here you will find, I weep for Adonais, he is dead. Oh, weep for Adonais, though our tears, though not the frost which binds so dear ahead. And thou, sad hour, selected from all years, to mourn our loss, rouse thy obscure compeers, and teach them thine own sorrow say, with me, and died Adonais, till the future dares, forget the past, his fate and fame shall be, an echo and a light unto eternity. So this is the first stanza. So this is the Spenserian stanza. Here you will find the 9 lines, and the first 8 lines you will find iambic pentameter, and the last line iambic hexameter. So this is the rhyme scheme. So here you will find the rhyme scheme that I have already mentioned. So I will discuss something about the summary or the story of this line. So here I weep. So I hear the speaker or the writer, Percy Bysshe Shelley, the speaker weep for the Adonais, and he is dead. Adonais, I have already mentioned that John Keats. And weep for Adonais, and so he calls for all to weep for Adonais. Though our tears, though not the frost which binds so dear ahead. So though our tears will not be able to come back or will not be able to melt the frost of death, or which binds a tear of hate. So throw means here the melt, and frost, frost, ice of death actually, that binds so dear ahead. and thou, the sad hour. So this is the personification here, the sad hour, this is the time. So here the writers personify personifies the time here. Thou, calling upon thou sad hour. So here time is called by thou, you, sad hour, selected from all year to mourn our loss. So this is the all year, so sad hour, because it is sad hour, this time is, this moment is sad, because our dearest Adonai or John Keys died. So this is why this is called sad hour, and here personify the time. Rouse the obscure company, and here writer also tells the time that you should tell other company, and teach them thine own sorrow, and you should the time you should say to other company that they should feel sorrow, and with me died Adonai. So with me here the writers, and as Adonais died, as that John Keats died. Until the future dares forget the past, and his fate and fame shall be an echo and light unto eternity. So I think so. Here you will find the consolation type indication that his fate and fame shall be an echo. Here, his fate and fame. So this is the work, or this is the writing of John Keats, and shall be an echo. Echo, the vibrant. There is a task and the light unto the eternity. That will be the eternal. That will be the forever. So this first stanza, I think, symbolizes the whole poem, the whole story. So here also there is a metaphor that, as a person, as a human being, we all die, but after our death, no one can remember us if we do not have the work, if we do not have the good work like John Keats. But John Keats died. Percy Bysshe Shelley also died in very early age, only 25 years old. But we remember such type of writers, John Keats and Shelley, with great reverence, with great respect. So that is why we all should have the lesson from the story. So we should not study literature only for pleasure, but we should have the lesson from the story, or from the writings of the writers. This is very important, I think. In every writing or every literary piece, there is a lesson. So we all should follow. As a human being, we all should follow this. So this is the second stanza. Where art thou, mighty mother, when he lay, when thy son lay, pressed by the shaft which flies in darkness? Where was lone Urania, when Adonis died, with veiled eyes, mild, listening echoes in her paradise? She stayed, while one with soft armor breath wrinkles all the fading melodies with which, like flowers that mocks the echo beneath, he had adorned and hid the coming back of death. So here in this line you will find the reference a reference of mythological character mighty mother, Adonis in the Urania, Aphrodite, another name Aphrodite, and when he lay with her son and freezed by the shaft, basically the Adonis, or here in the poem, Adonis was killed by a shaft, arrow, which flies in darkness. So it is unknown. Basically, the reason or who is the responsible for the death, it is basically unknown. So here, the shaft or arrow which flies in darkness and priest her son. So that is why the poet calls for Urania. So where are you? So come from paradise and mourn for the your death of your son. I don't know. So time is limited, so that is why it is not possible to discuss in details. Sorry. So now a third stanza. Oh, weep for Adonai, he is dead. Work, melancholy mother, work and weep. Yet wherefore? Queens within their burning bed, thy fairy tears, and let thy loud heart keep, like he's a mute and uncomplaining slave. For he For he is gone, where all things wise and fair descend. Oh, dream not that the amorous deep will yet restore him to the vital air. Death feeds on his mute voice and laugh at our despair. So in this stanza also like that, the weep for Adonai. So such type of lines you will find throughout the poem. So weep for Adonai, he is dead. So here a writer also mentions the mother, Aphrodite or Urania, and call for all to weep and shed tears. And the last death feeds on his mute voice and laugh at our disappear. So death is inevitable. Death is very common to all. So that is why we have to ready for death, but with our works, good works. So this is the moral. This is the lesson of the poem. So now time is limited, so that is why I will discuss now the last stanza, 55 stanza. The breath whose might I have invoked in song, descend on me, my spirit's bark in dry vein. Far from the shore, far from the trembling throng, whose sails are never to the tempest given. A messy earth and shepherd's skies are riven. I am borne darkly, fearfully afar, whilst burning through the inmost veil of heaven. The soul of Adonai is like a star, beacons from the above where the eternal arts. So this is the very line, this is the last two lines is very important. The soul of Adonai is like a star, beacons from the above where the eternal. So and here you will find the description that here the writer says that I have invoked the song descend upon. So here the writer calls for the breath actually breath here, the spirit, spirit or the divine power, whose might I have invoked in song, descend on me. So here the writer or the speaker Shelley calls for the spirit, divine spirit that should come on him. And my spirit is bark is driven, and my spirit and far from the shore and far from the trembling throng. So here the shore actually this is the indication of the earth, the shore here, the sea, and it indicates the world. And the trembling throng, trembling the general people who always tremble with the fear of death. So here the writer says that uh, his idea or his thought should be far from of these fearful general people, and he should be he should have or he should be blessed with the spirit, so that he can easily get the heavens, the spirit of heavens, and like John Keats and like Adonai. And and the last he says the soul of Adonai is like a star. So this is the simile, So here like a star, and that beacons from the abode, abode from the sky or from the heaven or the eternal earth. So that will be very much eternal. So this is the consolation, you know. So now I will discuss shortly the critical analysis of the poem. So the mode of the poem begins in dejection but ends in optimism, So this is the characteristics. It begins in dejection, pessimism or sadness, but ends in optimism. So this is the optimism. And hoping kids sparks of brilliance reverent through the generations of futures poets and inspires revolutionary change throughout Europe. And Adonai is the stand in for kids, for he too died at a young age after being mauled by a bull. And in Shelley's version, the beast responsible for the kid's death is the literary critic, especially one from London's Quarterly, who gave the mocking reverie of kids' poem Endymion. And Shelley was unaware of the true cause of death. Actually, Shelley thinks that for the mockery of review of Keats' poem Endymion, uh, uh, kids died, but actually Shelley was unaware. However, so this is very inspiring, and the generation, future generation of the poets, they will inspire from revolutionary sense from the spark of John Keats. That is called here in the poem Adonais. Now, Uronia already discussed the lover in the myth, another name Aphrodite, is rewritten here as a young man's mother here, possibly because Keats had no lover at the time of his death. In a sense, Keats is not dead, for like other great poets, and he lives within those who benefited from his life and poetry. And he is alive because he is one with nature, and he is even Christ-like, a divinity among the best poets. Even so, he died too soon. In death, he becomes the living of the John hymn in eternity. Here the Urania is used in the poem as a mother of John Keats. Actually, this is the death. This is the sad poem or sad situation. So this is, I think, this is why the writer used Urania as the mother. But in Greek mythology, Urania is used as the lover of Adonis. But lover as a lover or the beloved, that is the that means the time of happiness, but here the death. So so it also indicates that at the time of death, none can remain beside you, but your mother will be with you. So I think that is why Shelley introduced Urania in his poem as a mother of John Keats. However, so this is the theme, immortality is the major theme here. John Keats will immortal with his words. So immortality is famous theme of the poem. So time is limited. So I think you will go through the text. So now I will show you the man and natural world. So this is the natural world. So here you will find basically rather than being the caretaker of nature, the speaker in Adonai believes that nature is a part of greater spirit that includes mankind. Actually, he is not only the caretaker, he is not the praiser of nature, but he believes that nature is a part of greater spirit. So this is the idea of pantheism. So I have already discussed earlier classes William Wordsworth poem, Clinton Abbey. So I also find such type of similarity. So in nature there is a greater spirit includes mankind, and the elements of nature show up the mourn for Adonais. So here the nature personified, that nature also mourn for the death of Adonais. This is the example of personification, because in personification, what is personification? Personification is the idea that the lifeless objects acts like the human beings, acts like human beings. Nature, there is no humanity or a human touch in nature, but here nature mourns for the dead. So this is like acting like a person or the human. So that is why it is called personification. And are given characteristics a part of their mourning, and human characters. Here nature are given human characteristics. Okay, so that is why it is called personification. And nature is also a source of comfort for the speaker, who finds consolations in its beauty. So from nature, if you are sad, if you have sad mentality, then you can go to the nature. Then nature will rescue you from your sadness, and you will have the consolation in its beauty. And we can relate, can't you? Throughout the poem, the natural world is shown as a sympathetic, positive place at peace with mankind. So, in this regard, I can mention the line of William Wordsworth, nature can be with us. So, that is why we should go to the nature. The time is limited, so that is why I will discuss shortly. Art and culture. So there is a art kids activities full of art and culture, that also you will find this poem Adonais. I think you will go through the text. The famous line I already discussed. So now I will show you the question analysis. So this is the elegy. So I have already discussed about it. So I think you will go through the text. Then it will be a great help for your examination. This is the Greek mythology. Also find from here. Or you also find the about Shelley's information. This is a short question or brief question. In brief question you have 1 marks, and you have 10. You have to write 10 brief question. This is the Urania, Adonais mother Urania. So such type of question is very important for you. So I think you will go through the text, go through the slides. And this is the short question, you know. So short question like this, these were very important. I have already discussed about it, like explanation into the last line, last two lines is very important for Adonize. And now this is the broad question, you know. Broad question carries 10 marks, and broad question I should show. This is very important. Discuss Adonize by Percy Shelley as a pastoral elegy. So I have already discussed about pastoral elegy. You should write the answer with the reference or the indications from the theme. So that times it will be highly appreciated for your marks. And another important, but this is the most important question, broad question for you. So this is the source. I think you can use the source from here for other study and as well as for your job application. So best wishes for all, and thank you very much for being with me. And in the next class I will discuss on John Keats, and you know, within 10 classes I will complete this course. So all the best and best wishes for all, and thank you very much. Allah Hafiz.